span, and leisure time to sit a while. There is a fair maid in this town who sorely has my heart beguiled. Her rosy cheeks and ruby lips alone she holds my heart in thrall. Then fill to me the parting glass. Good night, and God be with you all. Oh, all the comrades that e'er I've had, they're sorry for my going away. And of all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls into my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night, and God be with you all. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night, and God be with you all.
Certainly was, but over the other side of the restored park here, where there was once a wharf, there is something fascinating. This here is the Sack House. It's now owned by the Wilts Berks Canal Trust, and it's also a museum. It's only occasionally and sporadically open. I did try to find opening times. I think it's open more frequently in the summertime, so it isn't actually open to get. I did try to negotiate with one of the volunteers, but we couldn't work it out. But anyway, it's wonderful to see this on this site that was once the wharf here in Wantage. The line of the Arm continued up in that direction, have tombs laying down this way, but there's still reminders of the wharf here. You have King's Wharf there, which is a private road, and Wharf Lane over there. So the Limekiln Brook is over there, and the wharfage would have stood all around here as the goods came down from the main line of the Wilts Berks Canal. It's hard to imagine now that there would have been lots of wharfs in this area, although behind the camera is known as the Old Mill, now turned into apartments of course, but it's still wonderful to see that right on the Limekiln Brook. Now, I just bumped into a subscriber when I was walking along the brook towards the Sack House, and he's a little gentleman, watches my channel, And he told me that if you go into the new development, you'll see the original house where the wharfsman lived, who looked after the wharf here on the Wantage Arm of the Wilts Berks. And yes, indeed, this is Wharf House, still standing. That's terrific. I didn't catch the gentleman's name, but thank you for telling me that this is tucked away in the modern development here in Wantage. And the route of our Wantage Arm continues behind the sack house here, but now it's difficult to make out where the line originally was due to the new developments and housing in the area, but we will continue along this route. Judging by the contours in the line there, I think our canal would have along this side of that fence there, where it just drops down, because the footpath I'm on is currently a higher level, so I think we need to go down there to follow the Wantage Arm. I'm just following the footpath now, and I've just come across this. Was this an abutment of a bridge here? And this looks like there's some stone blocks there in the hedge where it probably would have gone. Now this definitely here was a former bridge. You can see stonemason marks there as well. And you can just make out the top of it there as well, where the bridge would have been, now surrounded by domestic dwellings and garden fences. Sadly nothing remains of it on the opposite side of the footpath. And so the line of our canal arm would have continued through there, crossing this road and housing development. Rather picturesquely would have continued through here, but again, it's now, the route is now defined by more modern houses, probably of a late 1970s, early 80s vintage. And don't forget, it's nearly 110 years since this canal closed in 1914. And I think the Wantage Arm was actually wound down some time before that. But we'll continue to see if we can find any traces of it. And our route continues along here, along the edge of Bailey Close here in Wantage. Now before we get to the main A417 road, and where the Wantage Arm would have linked up with the mainline Wilts Berks, we're rewarded with our walk out of the town with this section. Obviously it's dry, but this was the bed of our Wantage Arm, the first time we've seen clear evidence of the canal here in the town of Wantage. Absolute delight to see, particularly with the autumnal colours here today. And in case you're wondering what it looks like behind the camera, it's that. Obviously that wall is not original Wilts Berks Canal engineering, but it's now acting as like a little sluice and drain if any water collects in the dry bed of the canal here to take it into the main town drain system. And so here we're walking on what would have been the towpath to the Wantage Arm of the Wilts Berks. A most delightful November Saturday morning. And here looks like I found remains of a humpback bridge, probably just carrying a minor lane over the canal at this point. It's now been completely infilled though, so you can't make out either the bridge or the canal, just the hump in the footpath for no other reason. So that traffic noise tells me that we must be close to the A417, and the A417 was built parallel to the main line of the Wilts and Berks. Before that happened, so we have another section of our Wantage Arm here, and it has water in it, more by accident than design though, but still good to see. Excuse the traffic noise. I now reached the junction with the 417, that's the road that goes between, well, M5, Cirencester, down towards Goring and Streatley on the River Thames. But our main line of the canal is to the right of our road here, and this is hereabouts where our Wantage Arm joined the canal. Now I've crossed over the 417, I'm now standing in the canal bed at the main line of the Wilts and Berks. In that direction lies Abingdon-on-Thames. Ahead of me, we're taking you down to both Latton and Sennington. This is around this area where the Wantage Arm would have joined up with the main line. It's difficult to make out because of the improvements and widening to the 417, which is just behind the camera, all the noisy traffic, etc. But it would have happened hereabouts in this area. Just have a closer look at this lock. So this is one of 5 grove locks between the A338, I think that's right, and the 417. But yeah, 5 grove locks in this area, all waiting restoration. Now, this is a beautiful section of the Wilts and Berks Canal. Partially in water, mainly due to the heavy rain that we've had, but it is certainly holding some. So now at Limekiln Lock. I haven't seen evidence of a limekiln. If I do, I will insert that in a photo, but not as yet. Great location this. Also, we have a map, so it's a good point to just show you how the Wantage Arm fits into everything else with the Wilts and Berks and the surrounding canal network. So here's our trusty map, courtesy of the Wilts and Berks Canal Trust. These are dotted around the main line of the canal, which is great. So Wantage here, little stub of the probably about a mile long canal arm of the Wantage Arm. We're at a place called Grove, the red dot there at Limekiln Lock, and Abingdon there, which is where we did a video where showing you where it linked up to the River Thames, and obviously it goes all the way down there, Swindon, which we've covered previously, and the North Wilts Canal. I have covered that bit there where it joins the Cotswold Canal, but we will go back there again at a future point to see the updates and restoration projects on the North Wilts. And it carried on down there through Wootton Bassett and Chippenham, which we've done some bits and pieces on before, but we'll still be doing some more here on West Country Wanderings, and then linking up with the Kennet and Avon Canal marked in red here at Semmington Junction. I'm going to now retrace my steps back to the 417 and where the Wantage Arm joins, and go a bit further down in that direction towards the Semmington direction. And I think there's a bridge there, is it called Great Challow, East Challow, I can't remember, remains of a bridge over the Wilts and Berks Canal, so we can see what we can see of that here. So I'm walking along a footpath in the direction of the village of East Challow. Some new housing there. I know it's a bit overexposed because it's very dark where I am in the wood. But to the right of that, we've got a section of the Wilts and Berks in water, which is really good to see. Not sure how far this will continue along as I make my way along to East Challow, but it's good to see that they didn't trash that when they built the housing above it. And now I guess it acts as a useful drainage channel. So we have another delightful section of the Wilts and Berks here on the way to East Challow. This footpath is also called the Vale Way, I think because the Vale referring to the Vale of the White Horse, which is also the name of the local district council. So I'm still making my way to East Challow village, but I'm just enjoying the beauty of this lovely section of the Wilts and Berks Canal. It's a bit reminiscent of when we did the Chippenham Arm when we walked down to Pewsham Locks, wasn't it? You've got that lovely wooded section there. But this is terrific. It's very quiet here. I'm sat on the seat. I've just had some lunch, and this seat is dedicated to the life of one Chris Naish, who was the former secretary of the East Vale branch of the Wilts and Berks Canal Trust. Thank you, Chris, for all that you did working for the trust. I'm sure you'll be fondly remembered by some of the volunteers that now volunteer for the Wilts and Berks Canal Trust these days. But I'm going to continue on there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to West Challow Bridge because time is pressing on, but I will try. If I can't, I will come back here another time to show you them. But in the meantime, I'm just enjoying the sights and sounds of nature on this beautiful mid-November day. So this section here, East Challow, the canal comes to an abrupt end and you can no longer make the canal bed out to the right of where I currently am. And that's what happens if you look to the right of where I currently am. It goes straight into gardens. So we're now in East Challow itself, and the canal would have gone straight through there. That house on the opposite side of the road wouldn't have been built, or rather it was built after the canal closed. I've got this interesting wall which would have run alongside the canal here at East Challow. Good to see that the road name lives on. Canal Farm Lane. And next to the canal here, East Challow, we have this building here. And if you know what that is, please drop a comment below, because I don't. If I can find out, I'll drop a comment now when I'm doing the edit, but there's no indication of what that used to be. But whether it was served by the canal when it was here, East Challow, I'm not sure, but it's certainly right next to where the bridge would have been, and it went under the road here in the heart of the village. And there we have ale casks. Tremendous to see, complete with the tap on that. That's wonderful. I would imagine then this was a former brewery here at East Challow. Well, that's it for today here on West Country Wandering. Another one on my canal series, another one on my Wilts and Berks Canal series as well. That's not the end of the story for the Wilts and Berks Canal, by no means. I will still keep you updated like I am with the Cotswold Canals on the restoration progress. Good to see here that the towpath here is being maintained and trees and that has been, so it's not becoming too unwieldy to keep the canal clear. So restoration is taking place along this section here. Probably next